Hello, so today's video is a book review of Emma by Jane Austen. I've previously done a review of Mansell Park by Jane Austen, which I'll link for you down in the description box below if you haven't checked it out yet. So Emma, funnily enough, tells the story of a young woman called Emma, who is young. She's 21 years old, she's rich, she lives with her father, her mother is dead, she has a sister but her sister is married with children and doesn't live at home. Her old governess at the beginning of the book becomes married and becomes Mrs. Weston. And Emma at the beginning of the book, because I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't like her at the beginning, is a bit of her own bum and thinks that she had a little part to play in the matchmaking of Mr. and Mrs. Weston. And she decides that she wants to do some more matchmaking, and it goes wrong and people's feelings get hurt. And when I talk to people about Jane Austen's works, a lot of people say that Emma is their favourite book, and I can kind of see why. It is a bit of a coming-of-age story. You know, we've got Emma who's 21 years old, and she thinks that she's kind of mature enough in the way of the world. But in actual fact, she really isn't. And it's a book where she learns to mature and she learns about people's feelings and what she thinks, sometimes to keep it in her head. There's a lot of foot-in-mouth situation throughout this book. And it's just a nice coming-of-age story, and I think a lot of people can identify with that, especially if you're, you know, a similar age and you're kind of learning to not just become a young man or a young woman, to becoming an actual man and an actual woman, and to actually mature thoroughly and to really bear in mind people's thoughts and people's feelings. And that's what this book is so great about. It's also, for me, probably the funniest Jane Austen book that I've read. I think Pride and Prejudice is full of wit, but I don't think it's hilarious. And I think this one has definitely got lots of humour inside it. It's fabulous. As with all Jane Austen books, there's a whole host of characters in this. I just thought I'd name a couple to you. Now, Emma, of course, as I said at the beginning, I wasn't really the biggest fan of. I thought she's a bit of a bum, trying to meddle with people's lives. Leave them alone, let them get on with their own lives. However, after a while, that you do start to soften to Emma. Well, I did anyway. And by the end, I was definitely cheerleading for Team Emma. I really liked her. I also really liked Harriet Smith, but I liked her from the beginning. I just thought she was quite sweet and delicate. Mrs. Elton is a fab character. Jane Austen broke the mould when she made her. She's one of these characters that you love to hate. She is an absolute snob. She's right up her own bum. And you've also got Miss Bates, who is definitely the village gossip. She's got the best house, it's right in the middle of the street, and she just sticks her head out and she just watches the world go by, and she catches people as they're walking by. They're like, "Oh, Emma, come in." She's an absolute gossip, but she's an absolute hoot. And for me, hands down, my favourite character has to be Mr. Knightley, our kind of main-ish love interest in the book. Now, Mr. Knightley is a bit older than Emma. He's in his 30s. He is a very well-rounded young gentleman. He calls a spade, to be honest. There are parts in this book where Emma is being rude and she's spoken out of turn and she's, again, hurt people's feelings. And Mr. Knightley, despite the fact that he loves Emma, he says, you know, that was badly done, you shouldn't have done that. And Emma does get upset and it does affect her, because she listens to him, as does everyone else in that kind of villagey environment. They all respect Mr. Knightley because he tries to do the best and he tries to do the right thing. I think there's something fashionable in the early 1800s, as there is today in the early 21st century, about being a gentleman that has never once gone out of fashion. And it's as most popular today as it's always been. And Mr. Knightley is a real, true gentleman. Gonna be honest with you, he's also a bit of a dish. So that doesn't, you know, well, what can I say? It's not a painful thing to read, is it, if you've got a bit of a dishy character going on? He is just a fabulous character, and he's got to be one of my most favourite male characters that Jane Austen's wrote over the years. And that is saying something. It's one of the best. So, would I recommend it? Yes, hands down, without a shadow of a doubt. Of course I'd recommend it. It is fabulous. There are some slow bits in this, you know, it's not the smallest book in the world. How many pages are you? I can't remember. I think it's well over 300. It is 300, in my edition anyway, it's 381 pages, so it's just shy of 400 pages. And there are some slow bits in this, but I actually really enjoy the slow bits because for me, I actually use the slow bits just to enjoy Jane Austen's writing. I think sometimes, especially in something like Pride and Prejudice, which I've read quite a few times now, there is something happening on every page, and sometimes you're going through the plot, absolutely kind of rushing through it, and you don't get the time to really sober up and enjoy the writing, but you do in this one because there are some slower bits, and I actually really enjoyed that. So, hands down, without a shadow of a doubt, yes, go and read it, it's fabulous. If you don't own a copy of Emma and you want to get your hands on one, I will leave the copy for this one, which is an Oxford World Classics, down in the description bar below. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've read Emma, and if you have, what you think of it, or if you haven't read Emma, are you going to pick it up in the future? So take care everybody, and I shall see you soon for the next video. Bye!